Hey everybody, welcome. This is the Man Alone YouTube channel. I am ostensibly Man Alone, but really that's not been proven. Today we're going to be talking about role-playing in the World War III that never was. I believe I've done a video on Twilight 2000 before, but I can't remember, and the reason for that is this is I think my 93rd video. So if you're watching this right now and you've been a follower of the channel and you have an idea of what I should do for my 100th video, let me know. What I'm thinking right now is trying to break the solo play world record set by Ernest Solois in 1981, who solo played for 15 hours and 23 minutes. I want to try and solo play for 15 hours 22. Anyways, I'm sorry, I almost got off track right there. And in fact, now I'm going to officially get off track. So if you've never followed my channel before, there's a timestamp below where you could scoot forward in the video if you want to get to the substance of it. But if you're cool and you know what's what, you can hang around here because do you know what time it is? Okay, so we're going to do a brief waffling segment here because we do have some housekeeping. So first and foremost, again, shouts out to Noble Knight Games. Huge thank you for just an awesome day. 55 and I traveled there and sold some of our games, and not only did they give us an excellent price for our games, they also gave us they refunded 60% of our gas mileage, which was incredible, as well as some other goodies, and we chronicled all of that in the most recent podcast episode. If you like what you see in this video today, please consider hitting that not only subscribe button below, but that join button. For $3.99 a month, you're going to have access to that weekly podcast. But not only that, you're gonna be a VIP. Okay, so you got access to this whole side of YouTube that you didn't even know existed. You had no idea that it existed. Speaking of, we do have right now. Unfortunately, it is getting to that time where our 100 hours performance improvement plan for solo play is supposed to be coming to an end. Now, the solo videos, if anyone wants to upload a video, that is still going on by until Sunday, October what? Sunday, October 6th, to be entered into the Path to Glory competition. But the actual 100 hours, it's time has expired because, look right here. It says it in the fine print. And look, that was a valiant effort. We got 4,916 minutes, but only we still have a deficit of 1,000, and it was due. Yeah, it's right now as I'm filming. This is over. It's October 1st. I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, wait a minute. I'm getting a message in my ear. Oh, interesting. Wow, they're going to be very relieved to hear that. Okay, I'll let them know. So the entire HR department is going to be out this week because they have a tension headache. And so we're going to shift all of the deadlines for this to October 6th. So if you're going to upload a video for the Path to Glory competition, we not only have BB, Mr. 55, and myself as a judge, but we're also going to have Soskade, the fourth celebrity judge, who is the host of a Wasteland Story podcast, as well as a new interview podcast regarding solo play. So we're going to have Soskade on, I guess, solo content creators, and I was the first interview for it. So we're going to have Sosuke do some of that, and then we're also going to bring him back to chat with us on the pod. I've heard that the most recent upload that he's done might be about Dragonbane, so I'll put the link to that below. But you're all very lucky for this last minute reprieve. It looks like we have 1,084 minutes left to hit that 100 hours performance improvement plan. If we are not able to do that, there will be an official, there'll be a documentation in your file. Okay. And it's an extremely vague documentation. Like you won't, unfortunately, you will not have access to it. Okay. All right. So that's out of the way. I also wanted to talk about the two other things that I got at Noble Knight. One of them is this pack of 5 HP trackers, which I've always wanted these. But then when I got home, I was like, oh man, is this, how am I going to use this, right? Because this is HP, so that one like makes sense. And then it's SP, and I'm like, okay, skill points, that one kind of makes sense. And then this one is RB, so I don't know if that's roast beef, because the one under it is RP, which I assume is roast pork. And so I was thinking I could maybe like make my own labels for it using this label gun. Do I have any? What is it? Yeah. Okay. Great. I do have it. Perfect. So I think. Let me see if this works. Wonderful. There we go. All right. Just like that, we'll be able to track our poop. Okay, so yeah, but I don't need 5 of these. I don't know. So if you really want one, let me know. And maybe I could send it to you because I do also now have a P.O. box. So if anyone wants to get anything on my Amazon wish list, which I do not have one, but just pretend that I do, and you want to get me that sexy little number. I'm sorry. But anyway, so the other thing that I got is probably the greatest purchase I've ever made. Now, they were so nice at Noble Knight that they gave 55 and I these little passes that said you can get anything you want in the clearance cave, which was like a bunch of stuff that was, secondhand, but it was anywhere between $2 to $20. And so I was like, okay, I don't care what the instructions are to this. I need to get Dutch Blitz. A wonderful, good game. Fast-paced fun for everyone. And it is a game that is about the Pennsylvania Dutch. And the different cards, instead of the 2 suits, there's a gentleman and a lady suit. And then I guess that's the 2 options for that. And then there's actually 4 types of cards, which that's a ground well, a horse-drawn carriage, a plow, and is that it? Did I say 4 of them? A horse-drawn carriage, a plow, and a water well. That cannot be the only ones. No, there's got to be another. Okay, there's more cards in here. There's one more, and it's well worth our time, right? Everyone's having a good time because everyone loves the Dutch. Oh, a barrel or a water pail. So I can't imagine that I won't play this game at some point, but that will probably be on a live stream. I also want to say that I've been doing more gaming live streams, CRPGs. I'm getting the hang of it. I've had a couple test sessions. So probably once a month, I will do that for everybody. But if I'm going to try to stream some gaming, like mostly CRPGs like Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, or Divinity, or Tyranny, but maybe some other games from time to time. I tried to play Talisman and what was the other one? Oh, Pendragon. There's actually like a narrative game, Pendragon. But I'm going to try to do that once a week now, and that will unfortunately be for members only. So yeah, if you're not ready to commit to the pod for $4 a month, for $2 a month, you can get on the best friend level, and that will include those gaming streams. But I do highly recommend the pod because it is It's hard to say that something that you've created is hilarious, but it is. I like re-listen to it as I'm editing it, and I'm literally laughing out loud. So I can't always promise that it's going to have the most intriguing content, but if you're looking for something to listen to feel like you're having a parasocial relationship with the people you used to hang out with in basements in high school, just like shooting the breeze, that's exactly it. And we talk about a little bit of everything, but I would say our main topics have been obviously tabletop RPG, solo RPG, video games, and movies. And then also occasionally we just it's self-improvement or self-improvement through lecture. We lecture each other. And then this other thing that I got from Noble Knight Games, these little chits. This I will say was kind of an accidental purchase. I like them. But this was, I got home, and you know when you have store credit, and I had about $125 store credit, it just felt like a shopping spree, and I got a bunch of stuff, barely looked at the price for it, and then I got home and I realized that these were $17, and they're just like 3D printed chits, which I think a reasonable price for this would have been $3. But let's be honest, I don't really care because honestly, I'm telling you, these people they were so cool. If you live anywhere near Madison, Wisconsin, they're in Fitchburg. It was an amazing experience, and yeah, when they have these trade-in days, they'll pay 60% of your gas mileage. It's absolutely wild. Okay, so time check, 12 minutes. All right, so Twilight 2000 is a free league game. I would say that along with Symbaroum and Tales from the Loop, I would say, and maybe another one that I'm not thinking of. And the reason I'm not thinking of it is because I'm saying these are the free league games that I think get the least amount of press. They get the least amount of playthroughs, which is a shame. Tales from the Loop is a very affordable free league RPG, and I think a really good intro to the Year Zero system. And it has the art of Simon Stahlenberg, who, if you've never seen like Tales from the Loop, he makes these like very surreal. Actually, 55 gave me an art book as a gift one time. I don't want to just show you what we're dealing with here. Okay, so this is The Electric State by Simon Stahlenhag. Sorry, not Stahlenberg. And I have been captivated by this book since it came out. It is truly, it's how I got into the psychedelic furs, by the way. There is like a quote from Love My Way, great song. And this book includes so much of the type of art that I love. The first thing is that it has a sort of cyberpunk dystopia where there like was something cyberpunk that happened, but then it like failed. And so like you see there's all these people here who have some sort of like uplink VR things, and they're just dead and everything's a desert. Here's someone like recharging their brain. And the whole purpose of this book is to depict this road trip, like these false, this is incredible. Like a boy and his robot, you know, in the morning the wind abated and outside the car stood a number of huge yellow ducks. For a moment I thought they had arrived with the storm during the night, but the place we had slept in turned out to be some sort of shooting range. So this is just these pictures of sort of a road trip across this ruined country, United States, like out west. And the other thing that it has that I really love is like massive structures in the distance, which I don't know why, but a dream, something that obviously if it actually happened, it would be terrifying, but something I think always looks so awesome. I'm trying to find a good example. Obviously, these things are really big, but like the outline of a colossus in the distance is like one of the coolest mental images for me, to just see like something enormous approaching, or stationary or whatever that might be. But let me see if I can get something. Oh yeah, I like this. It's incredible. So anyways, this one's Electric State. And then there's that Amazon show, Tales from the Loop. And that's so cool. And Free League has Tales from the Loop is a Free League RPG. And it's a very simple year zero system. Like I said, I think it would probably be a good one to like as an introduction. And I just don't think it gets enough love. And actually, Electric State, this book is going to be turned into a Free League tabletop RPG to sort of continue or expand, I guess, the series for Tales from the Loop. And so I just really recommend this. I think it's just a gorgeous piece of art. It is a little bit pricey, but I think definitely, yeah, it is a. There's also Tales from the Loop and Things from the Flood, narrative art books that stun the world with a vision of an alternate Scandinavia in the 1980s and 90s, where technology has invaded the tranquil landscapes to form an entirely new universe of the eerie and the nostalgic. He lives in Stockholm. This picture in the back, just amazing. So I don't know what the hell I was talking about, but I think that underloved games by Free League, Tales from the Loop, Twilight, Blade Runner and Alien aren't underloved. I would say Alien and then Blade Runner are the ones that I'm like least excited about from the Free League catalog. Weirdly enough, I do love Alien. However, we'll see, because the second edition Alien is going to come out soon, and it's going to have a solo mode. And the new Blade Runner, which I think is called not whatever the Angels was a supplement. This new Blade Runner one, where I think Replicant Rebellion will also have a solo mode. I passed on that Kickstarter. I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, actually, I want to do a video soon about Kickstarters and how we can rein this in, because it's getting out of hand. Somebody said that in a comment the other day. Okay, so now I've actually finished 1730. All right, so Twilight 2000 was a game that came out quite a while ago. And then was sort of picked up by Free League and reissued. And I think, again, one thing about Twilight 2000, maybe not up there on the level of Dragonbane, but just Free League at its finest, because this is not a starter box. This is the game, okay? And it has two softcover manuals inside. And it has a 152-page player's manual, 112 referee or GM's manual, double-sided full-color travel map, 15 engraved dice, 16 modular battle maps, 108 cardboard tokens, 4 battle maps for scenario sites, 52 encounter cards, 10 initiative cards, 5 blank character sheets. I think this was less than $50 US. So take a look at this. I mean, one thing that I think it does maybe doesn't do as well as the Dragonbane kit is that it doesn't have like the little standees, such as the ones that I made. Where are the ones I made earlier today? I'm trying to make an army of Hackmans. So, nevertheless, there is 2 new supplements coming out for this: Black Madonna and Hostile Waters. And I don't know, I think they're out already. But the Hostile Water ones is like a high seas combat one. And then the Black Madonna is, there's another supplement called Urban Operations. So I think it's just like another combat zone or another mission. But this also, and again, you don't hear about this very much for some reason on YouTube in the algo, but this does have some pretty damn good solo rules as well. So I have not really opened this. Something unique is that this is an introduction of a modification of the Year Zero system. If you buy my Year Zero supplement, or if you get it for free by putting in your 60 minutes of solo play, you know, I note in this that this is the step dice system that is different from the normal Year Zero system, and the dice has some very interesting, you know, like combat targets. What is the other one? Yeah, this one like shows like the location of hits for firing weapons, and I think that when I first encountered the step dice system, I was like, oh, why take something so good like the Year Zero, so simple, and do this? but it's actually quite easy in that all you're doing is like stepping up to more sided dice according to, whatever sort of advantage or disadvantage that you have. We also have some cards here that I can do a little nice unpackaging of it. We're doing it live, baby. All right, so this looks like on top initiative cards and encounters, and I have grown to love card supplements for games. In fact, friend of the channel, let me look up their name. Okay, so that probably sounded weird before I paused. I know their name, but I was looking for their YouTube handle because I just don't want to say their full name, but I couldn't actually find one. So David, you know who you are. If you let me know what your YouTube handle is, I would love to give a shout out in the video, because David has sent me successfully. It was the first package ever to go to my P.O. box. All the Mutant Year Zero cards. So I'm so thrilled. I've been putting off doing a solo playthrough of Mutant Year Zero to discuss some of the systems that I'm trying to get right in my solo supplement for that. Holy schnitballs. I think we have to waffle again. I completely forgot something. So I think we just have to do it, as painful as it is. So it is once again time. Okay, so this is going to really annoy those of you who skipped ahead. I guess I'll put another timestamp in, but we got to discuss something pretty important here, which is that starting either tomorrow or the day after, members of the channel who are part of SEAL Team Waffle Alpha, the basically the Man Alone inner circle, the 70 of us who are part of the podcast community. You will also I've made up a Google form to put in to get sent the first beta playtest copy of the supplement called To the Green. The total of this is going to be around 50 to 60 pages. So this will give like the first 32 pages of this up to the point of like emerging out into the world. And, we're looking for feedback if you have any, but if you are a member, you just get it. Like you'll get the supplement. And so you don't have to give feedback or anything, though we would certainly appreciate it. But yeah, this is going to... it's going to be incredible. We, the three of us, John's World's Art, Druidic Habit, and myself have put in tons of work on this. We have so many fun and funny pieces to this. There is basically mechanics for like open world exploration, but there's also got to be a dozen new, there's like towns, dungeons, other locations around the map that we have generated specific encounters for. So it's really, really full of solo stuff. And I can't stress that enough, because I think some solo supplements, you get them sometimes, and it's 8 pages long, and it's like a yes-no oracle, and you're like, gee, thanks. I promise you that this will not be the case. We have new mechanics for companions, threat clock for the 3 trolls, the awakened trolls who are going to kind of be stalking around, threatening you throughout the whole supplement. You do need the Dragonbane core to play it, and it would be helpful to have the bestiary, but you could, even with just the PDF of that, you would be able to play this. I don't think you'd be able to play it without that. I think if you're crafty enough, you probably could figure out a way if you just were able to like find out what tables are being referred to. But otherwise, I mean, I'm just so proud of this. And of course, John's Worlds has this amazing art, and any art that sucks, like this one, this is mine, and I just use it as filler. Yeah, that one stinks. But then that one, I made that map. But then you'll see like John's Worlds has just, I can't even keep going because I gotta stop myself. But yeah, his art's incredible. So this is the real deal, Holyfield, and we're thrilled. So become a member today. Seriously, I would love to get a lot of people's eyes on this, and it's a good deal, the whole membership thing. Okay, so that's the second session of waffling is over, 25 minutes. I had to do that, and I hope everyone sees now why I had to do that. Okay, so these cards that we have, ooh, they feel very nice. We have initiative cards. This is very common in Fria Ligan, up to 10. And then, ooh, I like this, actually. These additional cards have playing card things on it. So that's actually really cool that they're mapped to playing cards so that you can use a playing card, or just you could use playing cards if you don't have the actual supplement cards, even though I love the cards. But you can use, and I forgot where I got this from, but I'm sure if you search for it, it'll be pretty easy to find. This is, if you're not too worried about like total amount of cards and what's been dealt and stuff already, which in most games doesn't matter, this is a pretty awesome buy. I think it was like $16, $17. So it's like a D4 that rolls a suit, hearts, and then, yeah, okay, if it was flat, 3 of hearts, right? So, oh, that's really cool. I didn't even know that it had the, so I bet they're divided in the book by card suit and number. Very cool. But these ones that we have right here, are these all? Yeah, so I guess these are all encounters. So this must be 52 encounters. And they have some sort of faction, none, number, however many PCs there are. And then there looks like there's like this tree, sunlight, moon, fire. So there must be something in the book that indicates there must be something in the book that indicates what each of these mean about like if this encounter can happen, or at night or during the day or in the forest. But oh, this is so cool. So I love this. Ooh, a bear's den. You have been eaten. Goodbye. You may now sell the book on eBay. Okay, so the encounters look awesome, and for those of you who get very upset when I rubber band cards, I will now go and put them in their own case. Okay, they'll go in the Ultra Pro here along the side the Delve deck. Okay, I'm definitely digging those cards, as they say. Actually, I don't want to say that because that is a copyrighted phrase. Okay. Can you copyright a sound? Like if you have like a very interesting, like, flatulence, could you be like, that's only I can do that one? All right, so we got some nice looking dice here. We got some nice looking cards. We got this thing that comes in every free league with all the games. Oh, maybe I could do a quick aside. Yeah, so Alien, that looks like a nice starter set too. That's like 50. Again, it's not a starter set. One Ring. Whew. I have the core for this. Do I have the... I guess I do not have the box for that. Let's see, what's in here? Yeah, I might consider that at some point. Yep, Tales from the Loop. Forbidden Lands, you hear a lot about Forbidden Lands. Forbidden Lands also has a step dice, and famously, it is one of the free league games that Man Alone does not have. I cannot bring myself to do it. Vaesen I have. I always think about buying the Vaesen cards, but I'm like, nah. Mutineer Zero, love it. Coriolis, I GM that. There's also a Tales from the Loop board game. Anyways. All right, so next is the player's manual. And I would say that if there's one thing that's like maybe a little less exciting is the art. Even though I think it's pretty cool, if you compare it to something like Mutineer Zero that's just like extreme color blooms and like super distinct things, it might not be as interesting, but measure that against any other RPG, and these are like very, very good pictures. So yeah, this is nice and glossy. And let's just take a look at the... let's read out all the backers. No, I'm just kidding. Let me see if there's any of you in here. Let me see the funniest backer's name. Yeah, I bet this person never thought that they were going to... Oh, yeah, Brian Big Chief Childers and Brian Bloing. There's like 15 Brians who back this. I wonder if there's like the League of Brians. I also like looking at playtesting to see if there's any like other creators that playtested. Okay, so chapter 1, intro. 2, player characters, archetypes, life path, develop your characters. 3 is skills and specialties. Me love Free League skills. Combat and damage, weapons, vehicles, gear, travel. So the travel, okay, the cards. In Twilight 2000, playing cards can be used for 2 purposes: drawing initiative in combat, and by the referee for drawing encounters during travel. A set of custom cards is included in this box set containing 10 initiative cards and 52 encounter cards, with the encounters printed on them for easy reference. However, you could manage without these and just use a deck of common playing cards. Hex maps are key to playing Twilight 2000. There are 2 main types of maps: travel maps with 10 kilometer hexes that are used to regulate travel, and battle maps that are used when bullets start flying. A large travel map depicting parts of Poland and Sweden is included in this box set, as well as 8 double-sided battle maps that can be used in various different ways. And then what's a role-playing game? You know what, hey, if you don't know, why don't you pause and read it? Because I think some of you punks don't know what a real role-playing game is. Oh, good. A table of all the different military ranks. I wish this was, like, rollable, but that would make no sense. Like, I'm a captain, mayor, Menig. Okay. So the nationalities, most PCs in the game will be American or locals, but you could be any nationality you like, including Soviet. It's your choice. A mixed group's fine as well. Desperate times make for strange alliances. Your nationality will not affect character generation beyond your gear and language. Languages. All characters in the game know their native language. I'd hope. All PCs are assumed to know at least a little English, no matter their nationality, and all characters from former Warsaw Pact countries know a little Russian. Additional languages can be learned as specialties. And then we have these archetypes versus life paths. This chapter first explains some core character concepts and then offers 2 different methods for creating a player character: the archetype method on page 20 and the life path method on 31. You could choose whichever method you like best for your gaming group. Archetypes lets you create fully playable characters in mere minutes, ready to jump in the action. It also creates a fairly balanced group of characters with overall similar competency. Life paths, this method lets you build your character by developing their backstory in detail, learning skills and specialties as you go along. This will create more fleshed out characters, but will also make varied levels of competency. And then the 4 attributes here, pretty familiar Free League attributes: strength, agility, intelligence, empathy. Your attributes are used when you roll dice to perform actions. When rolling dice, each attribute rating is connected to a specific die type. Okay, so that's interesting. So attribute A is a D12, and the die size is 12, and that's extraordinary. Okay, this is right. I like forget this every time, and then as soon as I read it, I go, of course. So the usual method of year 0 is that on the first roll, you're just looking for a 6. Okay, you just want a 6. And that is every 6 you get is a success. If you push a roll in some games, you want to avoid a 1 because a 6 is a success during a push, and a 1 is a like a failure that can bring about negative consequences. So if you are feeble at something, just like a starting skill, you'll roll a d6. If you have an attribute score that is average, you can, for anything involving that skill, you can switch that out for a D8, okay? And then if you have something where you're very capable at something, you can swap that out for a D10, one of the 6s. And of course, all the way up to this D12, which you can, if you're extraordinary at something. And what's cool about this is, say that I take out, 2 of my attributes, like I'm extraordinary at something, and I roll, instead of 66, I roll 4d6 plus 2d12, it's like the same as before, but instead of having to roll a 6, I have to roll a 6 or greater. So now, because I have these larger dice, well, I failed there, I have a higher chance of getting a success, like some number over 6. Okay, so it just widens the range of possibility. What's interesting here, though, is I wonder if there's enough dice. Your attributes determine how much damage and stress you could take before being taken out of action. This is measured by your hit capacity and your stress capacity. Read more. Read more about how these work in Chapter 4. Okay, your hit capacity equals the sum of the die size for your strength and agility divided by 4, rounding fractions up. And your stress capacity is your intelligence and empathy divided by 4, rounding up. Interesting. Skills. Your skills represent broad fields of expertise you have acquired during your life. They determine, along with your attributes, how effectively you can perform actions in the game. There are 12 core skills, very similar to a lot of Free League games. Just like attributes, skills are measured on a scale from A to D, where D represents only rudimentary training and A represents the best of the best. You can also have a skill level of F, meaning you have no training at all. This is the default and does not need to be indicated on your character sheet. You can increase your skill levels during the game. So for attributes, you go from a D6 to a D12. And in skills, if you're untrained, you can't add dice to the roll. You can generally roll for a skill even if you have no level in that skill, level F. In that case, only use the attribute dice. Coolness under fire. When bullets start to fly in your direction, you need to keep a cool head. Panicking can cost your life or get someone else killed. Coolness under fire, or cuff for short, is a rating between A and D, just like the attribute. The better your cuff, the better you are keeping calm in combat. After each session in which you roll a cuff roll, you have a chance to improve your cuff. And then there's unit morale. You have a buddy. This is similar to Walking Dead, which I'm sure is like your morale is tied into that. You have a moral code. If you choose to follow your moral code, you get a +1 modifier to one related skill roll, if it makes sense. If you betray it, you get -1. Then you have a big dream. Group gear. That's interesting. Shared by the whole group. Backpack, bow, pistol, binoculars, D6 of med kits, vehicles. In addition to your group gear, your team can start the game with a vehicle. Roll 2d6 on the table below and add the number of PCs. So let's say if we're playing solo, let's add +1. And I rolled into nothing. I don't know why I roll when I can't even see it. So we got 5 + 1, 6. Nothing. So maybe we add 2 if we're solo playing, because that doesn't seem fair. Round time is very similar to other Free League games. A round, a stretch, and a shift. Encumbrance, food and water. Radiation. Okay, so you also have to monitor radiation level. So here's the character sheet. And so this is very interesting. This is actually very interesting. So I guess if I'm rolling for strength, I guess I don't have a strength stat. I have a strength rating. And so is this right that because usually you have a number in Free League games, right? So if you have 2, if you want to drive, that's under agility. So you'd have 2 in your drive skill, 2 agility, and you'd roll a 4d6. But here, all the skills are listed as numbers. So I guess we'll get to that. I think it would be worth our while to actually roll up a character sheet. So let's before we get too far into this, let's remember that there's a referee's manual and everything like that. So maybe that'll be then a whole lot of chits. Ooh, I love these. This is just an explosion. And as usual, Free League, this is a nice stock. This is the download button. Very famous. Yeah, these are actually really cool animations. Why does it look so dim? Are my lights not? Okay, that's a little bit better. Nice chits. And then it also, okay, so then we have these 5 character sheets. I hope they're not pre-made. I don't like when they only give you pre-made stuff. They're blank. And they're very nice. Holy jeez. All right, now we're talking. We got a hex map and another one for like urban combat. These are real nice. Okay, and then these are like larger maps of that fold out. I want to live there when I'm older. It's a fixer-upper. All right. This looks like where my parents live, like in like a retirement villa. This is where they have like a vaudeville karaoke every Wednesday. Okay. This is cool. You do Mario Kart, just smash into each other. It's a me, Twilight 2000. Okay, yeah, lots of maps. Holy bonker bean sprouts. It's a family station. It's a family station on YouTube. Wow, this is a huge hex map. And I guess this would be the ones of what, like Sweden and Poland. So yeah, this is this would be hard to. We'll have to see if I can maybe get this online so that I can track it on there. But it has a nice map legend. Yeah, really cool. Oh, and I don't want to show these, but these are like secret update dossiers that you can find. And then the refs manual. Let's see what the sections are in here. Martin Grip cover art. Martin's a fantastic artist. Yeah, I think actually the more that I look at this, I think it's not the art. The art is really good. I think some people might just like be, I don't want to say turned off, but not given like that Pavlovian response because it's a bit more muted. But like this art is incredible. I ditched advanced calculus and was smoking at a cafe when I saw the parachutes bloom over my high school as the Soviets began their invasion. Man, how obsessed were people in the 80s of just having like, they wanted it. They wanted like to have a ground war with Soviets in like a field in Portland, Maine. So it is an alternate timeline. Is there no, okay. The world at war. So it gives an overview of Poland, Sweden, and then Germany, France, UK, US. Your job as a referee, encounters, radio chatter, rumors, mood elements, factions and forces, scenario sites, and then, my friends, Appendix 1. Look at that. Me oh my, 5 pages of solo rules? What did we do to get so lucky? Scotland. It's like Scotland, but you have it now. Scotland. Of Scotland. That's not Scottish, right? Of Scotland. No, that's not. How do you do Scottish? Merrin. You're not doing it for her. You're doing it because you love Merrin. What do Scottish people say? I can crush you like a Woodham. Okay, maybe that's right. Obviously, anti-Scottish prejudice. I have to either think of Groundskeeper Willie or Mel Gibson in Braveheart to like anchor my. All right, so let's take a look. See, yes. So this is interesting. Attributes are all letters here. Strength C, agility C. So maybe that's why there's not that many dice, because it's like maybe instead of rolling 4d6, I'm just rolling 1d6 and 1d12. Encounter categories is going to work perfect for solo play. Encounter motivations: violence, wealth, fellowship, or power. Love it. Lawyers, guns, or money. Cool. This is cool. This is really cool. Radio chatter, rumors, mood elements. Rumors are great. Rumors are great for solo play because rumors give us content and plot without having to commit to it. So then you can encounter these different battalions that have like 450 soldiers, 4 tanks, 2 planes, 2nd Marine Division, scenario sites. Reusing scenario sites. It can happen that the players simply ignore a scenario site that you have prepared and just go somewhere else. If that happens, don't hesitate to reuse it elsewhere on the map. Just rename it, make any changes. I love GM manuals. Well, you can tell this was written in like 88. The so-called zip drive became a popular computer data storage in the 1990s using a thick 3.5-inch floppy disk. Mm-hmm. Rasputin's religion. I like that. All right, let's get to the solo play, shall we? These all look like very good scenarios, though, with good stuff in them. All right, so scenario site generator. So this is not yet the solo rules necessarily, but this is amazing. So we got D100 rural sites and urban sites. So to create a scenario, decide if the site is rural or urban, roll to determine its type, roll to determine the current condition, roll to determine what type of faction controls the site and its allegiance, roll to determine the number of persons belonging to the controlling faction, roll D3 times on the characteristics table to add some flavor. So folks, do we realize how like good this is? Do we realize that? Okay, let me just show you how we would do this. So we go to the overland map. Don't read those secrets. You go to the overland map. Okay. We move into anywhere that has something that resembles a like site. So as we're just moving around, road, open, woods, hills, mountains, lake, swamp, ruins, anytime we're in open, we could probably use something to roll up just like a travel generator. But if we get to anything that's a site, we immediately go to this. Okay, urban. Look at the condition of it. Is it ruined, decrepit, patched up? Faction, is it military, civilians? If military, who are they? What's their allegiance? What's the faction population? D10, a single individual, a handful, D6 plus 1, a group, D10 plus 8, a band, D10 plus 10, a colony, D100 plus 20, a man alone live concert, D1000 plus D1000. Okay, now solo rules. Woo! I like this. Okay, hex crawling. Some of the very first role-playing... Yeah. The solo hex crawl is much the same, only you lack a referee independent from the player. You must take on both roles. To help, random... Okay, advice on trying to... Managing combat. Not all encounters will trigger armed confrontation, but a fair number will be... It should say will be likely to do so. So stop production on this free league and please issue a recall immediately. To run combat in a solo game, you'll need to manage both PCs and their enemies. Some general guidelines. Set up the combat using the encounter distance roll, page 138 in the player's manual. What is that? This is a rare time when the player's manual is actually bigger than the referee's manual. Okay, so this is kind of cool. 138. So tasks and shifts of the day. Marching. Terrain types. Shows the speed, driving, foraging, hunting, scrounging, encounter distance. Okay. So I don't really understand what that means. Let's see if we could figure this out here. Encounter distance. That's actually... my code name, encounter distance. So to give you an example, so that maybe you could start thinking about this, and then you can call me back in time. It says road, speed times 1, applies only to off-road driving. Driving plus 3. Foraging as terrain, hunting as terrain. So these look like the modifiers to your dice rolls. Scrounging plus 1, that must be like gear rather than food. Encounter distance in hexes, 2d10 times 2. Minimum distance used only for roads through woods or ruins. Okay. Let me pause. Try to figure this out. Okay, I figured it out. I'm such a silly Billy. So the encounter, whatever the encounter is for that hex, right? So you'd move into that hex, you'd pull a card, that would be the encounter. And then you would roll to see how far away that is. Like, so for instance, if I move into this forest right here, it doesn't make sense if I'm like, so what? Or this is a swamp. I moved into a swamp and then it encounters 20. But like at that swamp, you know, if this was an encounter or if this was a place that is an actual like encounter site, I then go to one of these, which I think there's probably something that's a swampish. Yeah, like right here. I would say maybe that the encounter is, I roll a 10. I'm here. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's the bear, if that's like where the encounter is. Okay, that makes sense. I was just thinking like it was all on this big world map. So maybe if you already knew that, that was probably agonizing. All right. And we have tasks and shifts of the day. Tasks. At the start of every shift, each member of your group must decide what they will do for most of that shift. You cannot perform more than one task in the same shift, including marching. The only exception is that one PC may keep watch. So what are the different tasks? Okay, marching, driving, gathering, keeping watch, scrounging, foraging, hunting, fishing, making camp, cooking, resting, sleeping, exploring, sneezing. Yeah, so let's see what solo rules here. I'm just wondering if they give you a companion or something, because if not, I would want to probably give myself that in order to... So sorry about this glare. I'd probably want to give myself that so that I could do more than one thing. But all right, so the tools, the main travel map, the travel rules in Chapter 6, the encounter system and NPC stats in Chapter 3, the combat rules in Chapter 4 of the player's manual, the battle maps, and combat tokens. This appendix includes a number of further tools to adjudicate situations, expand encounters, and generate new encounters. Cool. Just like when playing as a referee, you'll need to start by creating characters. Sure. You can play just a single character or a group of PCs, creating them using the archetype method or the life path method. When you're done, you need to decide on a starting position on the map, just as you would for a referee-led game. Set a goal for your PC or PCs, somewhere you want to go and why. When and if you reach this hex, your first solo game is over. You can choose whether to end your campaign here or set a new goal. Okay, this is good. So here's the loop. 1. Roll for weather. 2. Assign and resolve tasks for each PC. 3. Draw an encounter card. 4. If an encounter is triggered, roll recon to see if the PCs can avoid it or not. If needed, resolve the encounter using the rules for social conflict or combat. 6. Use the oracle below as needed to adjudicate situations that the rules do not clearly resolve. Proceed to the next shift. This is very interesting because it's saying using the oracle below. So I guess they're counting all of this as the oracle. Yeah, helpful or hazardous, NPC motivation, settlement problems. Like if you come upon a settlement, is it gangs? Are they under siege? Unclean water. They only have whoppers and not whopper juniors. Further elements: burned, broken, enervated. Cool. All right. So I would say pretty good. You know what's interesting? Instead of the oracle, they have a yes or no. The deck can also answer basic yes or no questions and add degrees of nuance. Red is a yes, black is a no. The value of the card indicates the degree of yes or no. If you need more specificity, low cards are in the middle, like when a parent tells a kid maybe. Thank you for that explanation for what maybe means. Middle cards are a basic yes or no, while high cards are the definitive answers, be they positive or negative. I kind of like that, actually. Or you could use the year 0 + 1, solo supplement. You decide the consequences. I don't like that. Face cards and aces mean a strong yes or a strong no, but they also come with consequences. You decide. So you'd want a little bit of a consequence, right? Settlements. You have to encounter the settlement leader. I'd say it's pretty good. It's pretty good solo supplement. It's a little small, but like I think that the encounter scenario site generator and the other tools presented in the book could be considered part of that. And then the conversion rules. Using the tables and rules in the appendix, you can easily convert PCs, NPCs, weapons, and vehicles from the first and second edition. So we don't really care about that. Although I am curious about like if there's yeah. So it would all depend on what other tools are present throughout the book, and to that extent, another thing that I got at Noble Knight Games was a referee screen. Now, referee screens are very, very intriguing to a solo player, and I'll tell you why. check this out. See if you notice this. Unless it's being sold by like an individual party, they never show you what's on a referee screen. Like even on eBay or on Amazon, on drive-through, because I guess the thought is if I show you what's on here, you have no reason to get it. You can just print it out, which I don't really agree with that. I mean, obviously, you can just print out the stuff from a book. I mean, like I want this because it's like gloss and really nice, and I can put it in front of me and it stands up on its own. But I haven't really looked at this, so let's look now. Oh boy, this looks very good. Ranged fire modifiers. I don't know if I'd put that up front. Slow actions. Love it. Very good. Free actions, close combat modifiers. Fast actions. Component damage. Critical injury to the torso. Critical injury, arms, legs, head. Heavy weapons fire, explosions, deviation. And that has like a little aiming. Okay, weather, barriers. I might have to say that this very well could be another Free League GM screen blunder here. I feel the same way about the Dragonbane screen. Not so good. Let's compare, actually. I'm going to grab that one. I mean, look, maybe I'm biased because I'm looking at this as a solo player and not like as a group GM, but fast, slow, and free actions that's good. You use those a lot. Depending on how often crits happen, like in Coriolis, crits happen very often, and so we do refer to the crit table a lot. I just want there to be more mechanics-based stuff, because that's the stuff that I think when I'm GMing or solo playing, the thing that makes me feel like I'm reaching the upper limits of my cognitive capacity is when I can't remember how a mechanic works. I can't remember, like even just to start as well, like rolling the dice and looking at those different stat blocks and what they mean. If we look at Dragonbane, although I did warm up to this a bit, but I just think like this is just a strange, it's just strange, for instance, that they put like Pathfinder mishaps. When something is this big and there's this much information, a GM screen should be all like tables that are snappy, right? This is stuff that I'm fine looking up with in the book. Again, actions, free actions, measuring time, good, demon, and this is a great example of like head scratchers. They have demon rolls, but they don't have dragon rolls. Why would you put demon rolls and no dragon rolls? Typical NPCs is fine. Yeah, is there anything on NPCs here? Like I would love to see encounters. I just wonder sometimes like how they make these decisions. Vehicle component damage. It just doesn't always seem user tested. And now let's like compare it to the industry standard here. And if this shames it, this is D&D 5e. Now I do think the Mork Borg one is awesome. But yeah, like look at this one here. Cover, great. Sources of light, food and drink, services, travel pace, encounter distance. That's embarrassing right now because encounter distance, one of the first things I learned. I don't know why the hell I wasn't thinking of that way. Damage by level, object hit points, object armor class, skills, conditions. Awesome. There's also 4 sheets here. Different ways that that spells can have an area of effect. I just think it's just strange to me sometimes, like what the choices they make, and it's really hard because you can't look at it before you buy it. Again, I would have to play. It's not worth getting emotional about. It's just sometimes I just wonder, do they actually sit down and play and keep like a little counter? Like how many times are we using this table? I want to like start like making a international petition to like have like solo specific GM screens. But yeah, what do you think? Would you be interested in playing this? Would you be interested in looking at a playthrough of this, or is this like old news? Would you rather see something that's more modern, more hot? Um, Playthrough that is happening soon. Here is we're gonna do Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate. But I'm trying to, trying to fill up the schedule all the way out to the new year. And that's about how many games I have on my backlog right now. So please, no more, don't read those secrets. No more suggestions for now. Let's just look at the character sheet once. So, name, appearance, moral code, radiation. And I guess you get this permanent radiation after a while because you're just saturated gear. This is a very boring character sheet, too. I think that's the problem with Twilight 2000. It just looks very boring. It's just like a lot of the layout in this game is very boring. But who cares about that? Like, if it's a good game, who cares? I'd rather have a game that, like, and you also, it's like a high wall when you're dealing with Free League, too, because I'm not going to be able to fit these dice in there with the GM screen. It's just so packed with stuff that the GM screen is taking up all the space in this box. And now it's stuck in there. That's great. Yeah, I guess like if you're comparing it to Free League, it looks boring. If you're comparing it to almost any other publisher, it's like the most exotic looking book you've ever seen in your life. So, you get spoiled. You really get spoiled. But then you have things like Ultraviolet Grasslands, which are just bonkers, almost like too much. So yeah, so I guess like I'm gonna be doing Ruthless Heavens. I'm gonna be doing Mutant Year Zero once I get those cards. But then I have this kind of question mark around like, should I do Symbaroum? Because I also am seeking out a new solo supplement for that I'm very intrigued by. I got in touch with the author to see if we can. It is a PDF only, so I'm gonna see if I can I'm gonna send it out to get like printed and bound and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, would you be interested in seeing Twilight 2000? I think for some people too, for me, I am sold on it. I have intrigue with it because of one reason, in that it reminds me, and I talked about this when I first did an opening of this box. It reminds me of like that bleak middle time of the 90s where like we actually thought that this sort of world could exist. And I really like that. I like that sort of empty feeling. But for some people, I know that like other war games, so this is, I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced this, and I suppose this reveals quite a bit about me. When I walk down the aisles of like a really good game store, I have like tons of dopamine in the tabletop indie section. Indie, and like if they have a wide variety. If it's one of those RPG stores that has like D&D, Pathfinder, and one copy of like, I'm thinking of this game store by my house. It has all the D&D books. It has maybe a couple Pathfinder books, which I just think are the ugliest books. And then it will have maybe like something from Chaosium, like one Cthulhu or something. That I get no dopamine. That I don't like. But, I'm walking down these aisles. I see that. I'm like, kid at a candy store. Then I get to the more entrenched books, and I see like they have a whole aisle at this one that I really like that is all D&D stuff, but there's just so much stuff there that it is really fascinating to see all those different supplements and tools. And then I go up the miniatures aisle, and I, of course, love Warhammer. I actually don't get as much of a spark from like minis as I do in RPGs. RPGs just hold so much more promise in terms of discovery for me, whereas minis is more like a process that I really like. But I'm loving that. I love looking around. I love, seeing, especially if they have any paintings in glass. And then I get to like the wargaming aisle, like the legit wargaming, like dudes who paint and recreate, the Battle of the Bulge down to it. And like, obviously there's an amazing level of craftsmanship and dedication. And I'm sure that those are as fun or even more fun, mechanics wise, than playing Warhammer, which 10th edition like kind of stings. But I feel so bummed out when I look at that. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like being at an uncle's house when you're young and he's like, oh, you can check out like my basement. I have something cool set up. And you go down there and it's like what he has set up is like, some like perfect recreation of a battlefield from like the Korean War. And you're like, I'm 5, you know? I don't know what Iwo Jima is yet. I think it's a band. That was incredibly disrespectful to all of our veterans. And with that, I will punish myself by generating no further revenue. I award myself 0 points on this video, and may God have mercy on my soul.